The invasion of cult classics continues now with a couple of biggies. Beautiful, isn't it? That's from the soundtrack of one of the eeriest cult movies ever made, a midnight movie that should only be seen at midnight, Eraserhead. It's almost impossible to explain what Eraserhead is all about, and that's no cop-out. In fact, one well-known reviewer wrote, "It defies a coherent plot description. In fact, it defies description of any kind."
They're still not sure it is a baby.
Eraserhead was a 5-year labor of love for producer, writer, director David Lynch. He's not all that surprised that it became a cult movie.
Well, that is the only way that Eraserhead really can go. We're very thankful that there are midnight, films. Ben Barinholtz, the guy who owns Libra Films, started Midnight Films with El Topo, and when he owned the Elgin Theater. And when he saw it, he said, "This is, the film that will go that way." And every time they've tried to do something wider with Eraserhead, it fails. But it has a great, constant, following in the midnight circuit.
We've got chicken tonight. Strangest damn things. They're man-made. Little damn things. Smaller than my fist. But they're new.
After one screening, this guy sat there for quite a while, and he said, a human mind had these thoughts.
Sick.
One human mind which enjoyed those thoughts belonged to the producer of The Elephant Man. He was considering David Lynch for the director.
Oh, you bet. Mel Brooks, that was my final test. He had to see Eraserhead. And he came running out of the theater yelling, "You're a madman, I love you."
And now, the king of cult movies. Well, maybe it's the queen.
It's astounding.
It's a movie people see more than once. Way more.
How many times have you been to see the movie?
76.
How many times have you seen it?
This is only about my 13th or so.
160.
About 10 or 15 times.
I've seen it like about 10 times.
And it's a movie that makes people want to dress up in outlandish costumes and throw things at the screen.
I have toast because I get hungry when I watch the movie. I like to throw it because everybody else does. When they say, "Here's a toast."
I like bugging people that sit in front of me.
Who are you dressed up as?
Riffraff.
I just like it because you just don't sit there and watch it. You get to participate, the audience gets to.
It's the only cult movie with its own national fan club. It's the only cult movie that runs in about 200 theaters every weekend. And it's the only cult movie where what's happening in the audience is a mirror image of what's happening on screen. The movie? It's the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Michael Rennie was ill the day the earth stood still, but he told us where we stand. And Flash Gordon was there in silver underwear. Claude Rains was the invisible man. Then something went wrong for Fay Ray and King Kong. They got caught in a celluloid jam. Then at a deadly pace, it came from outer space. And this is how the message ran. Science fiction. Double feature. Dr. X will build a creature.
Rocky Horror's a beauty, the perfect man.
And that's not just Riff Raff talking either. That's Richard O'Brien, who wrote the Rocky Horror Picture Show and also played Riff Raff. And what could have possibly possessed him to come up with the story of a Transylvanian transvestite and his troupe of loonies?
I just remember when I was 16 going to the late night movies and being with the boys and being very leery and loud while the show was on, you know. And then being very frightened as I went home by myself. So I mean, I think everyone likes to be frightened a little bit, you know. They like to laugh at it too, you know. So I wrote in a few more songs and put all these elements together. And when I finally talked to Jim Sharman, the director, about it, I hadn't even finished it. I just said it's an idea I was working on. Maybe he'd like to hear some of the songs and read some of the script. We were rehearsing another play, and he listened to it and said he wanted to do it. I finished it off rather rapidly, and that was it really. The whole thing took about 6 months. And it was only to go on for 5 weeks originally.
Whatever happened to Saturday night when you left the job and you felt alright? It don't seem the same since cosmic light came into my life. I thought I was divine. I used to go for a ride with Chico and listen to the music on the radio. The saxophone was blowing on a rock and roll show. We climbed in the backseat, really had a good time. Up with duty, bless my soul. Really love that rock and roll. Up with duty, bless my soul. I really love that rock and roll. Up with duty, bless my soul. I really love that rock and roll. Up with duty, bless my soul. I really love that rock and roll.
Now, in case you've been away from the planet since 1975, the Rocky Horror Picture Show goes something like this. After attending a wedding in Ohio, Brad and Janet get lost while driving through a heavy rainstorm. Brad is played by Barry Bostwick.
How Brad and Janet figure into the storyline is they are the ones that everything is done to. They're the ones that have been changed by this entire experience. They get involved with Frankenfurter, who is a transvestite, and his freaky group at the castle, and become liberated. Janet especially becomes liberated sexually and morally, and Brad, the character I play, who was a very straight Midwestern young accountant type guy, has a hard time dealing with it all. He is confronted sexually by Frankenfurter, and all he does is end up being embarrassed and not quite knowing how to deal with it. And at the end of the movie, you sort of assume that he hasn't changed that much. He's still going to be the way he has always been.
The river was deep, but I swam it. Janet. The future is ours, so let's plan it. Janet. So please, don't tell me to can it. Janet. I've one thing to say, and that's damn it, Janet. I love you.
Janet is played by the lady who mesmerized audiences last year in Louis Malle's Atlantic City, Susan Sarandon.
So it's the Frankenstein legend with just a little bit of a twist, and that is that Frankenstein, or Frankenfurter, is a transvestite. And through the course of the film, because of all the things that they're exposed to, including both of them being seduced in exactly the same way by Frank, they're changed, or they fight the change. Janet changes. Janet is a little bit freaked and completely released, and her mind has been expanded, and she's brought to see a complete other thing. Brad, the boy, the upstanding all-American square-jawed boy, has a little bit more trouble. He can't quite roll with it, and so he fights it. And I don't think that the movie has any kind of a message, a very heavy message, except don't dream it, be it.
I was feeling done in, couldn't win. I'd only ever kissed before.
You mean she...
I thought there's no use getting into heavy petting. It only leads to trouble and seat wetting. Now all I want to know is how to go. I've tasted blood and I want more. More. I'll put up no resistance. distance. I want to stay the distance. I've got an itch to scratch. I need assistance. Touch me. I wanna be dirty. Thrill me, chill me, fulfill me. Creature of the night.
Frank and Furter is brought to life by the charismatic Tim Curry. He is the man most identified with the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Tim seems to know his audience from first-hand experience.
I think there are two wonderful things about what's happened to the Rocky Horror Picture Show in America. One is that it's a movie that was found by its audience. It's never been promoted. It's never been, pushed down their throats. In fact, the only way that you can find out that it's on is in the small print listing in the back of the newspaper. So the audience has found the movie itself. And secondly, it's probably the first audience participation movie in that the audience has its own dialogue and it knows the dialogue of the movie backwards and do all kinds of extraordinary things as the movie goes on. For example, the wedding scene at the beginning, the audience throws rice. In the dinner scene, when I propose a toast, people throw toast. In fact, I met a cinema owner the other day in Philadelphia who had to put up a special canvas screen to show the movie on. Because instead of just throwing toast, they were now throwing toast with butter and jam on it at the screen. It's a party. It's become a kind of, weekly event. And quite often the audience is funnier than the movie.
Butter, deltoid, and a bicep, a hot groin, and a tricep makes me shake, makes me wanna take Charles Atlas by the hand in just 7 days. Oh, baby, I can make you a man. I don't want no dissension, just dynamic tension. In just 7 days, I can make you a man. Dig it if you can. In just 7 days, I can make you a man.
And there you have it. A look inside America's fast-growing movie cults. Are they friend or foe? A menace or a boon to society? Who cares? Anyway, there's a very good reason why these films are called cult classics. They really are classics. Cult Classics, the film Rolls at Midnight, was written by Alan Daniel Goldblatt, produced by Peter Rubenstein with technical production by Ron Hummel, executive producer Peter Riches. This has been a production of Riches, Rubenstein, and Radio Incorporated in association with The Source. I'm John Leader. Thanks for listening.